setback as the Gulf economies are heading south. The Gulf has been the economic booster for many parts of the world, including a few Asian countries, since the 70s. And as the Gulf migration reaches a milestone of 50 years, things are apparently going back to square one. The ever-increasing nationalization policy in the entire Gulf has slowly but steadily been adversely affecting the prospectus of the expatriates. And now the oil crisis is largely clouding the Gulf economy and is posing a great setback for the expatriates. The slow shift from oil to alternative energy sources has been hitting the oil market for some time now. And the novel coronavirus pandemic has accelerated the plummeting of the oil economies, the Gulf in particular. An estimate by the International Monetary Fund suggests that the Arab world would lose anywhere around $2 trillion of its wealth by 2035. The faster the alternative sources spread, the speedier would be the downfall of the West Asian economies, it's pointed out. The massive spread of COVID-19 witnessed a near wipeout of the oil demand in more than 100 countries. This was an unprecedented hit for the Gulf economies, which has already been limping on account of the renewable energy alternative sources. Estimates say the lockdowns and travel restrictions had wiped out 1/3 of the global oil demand. This means the Gulf Cooperation countries GCC losing nearly $300 billion only in the year 2020. And most of the GCC members are dependent solely on the oil revenues. Even as the demand for oil headed south, the graph of the alternative energy sources was picking up. This is clearly an indication of the downfall of the GCC economies and the oil age slowly but surely. The extravaganza and spendthrift Arab rulers of the GCC would face the brunt of their declining prosperity sooner than later. The smaller oil economies would be badly and quickly hit with such an eroding revenue from the oil resources. Even a big economy like the Saudi Arabia would struggle as 70% of its revenue comes from oil. To make a break-even of the economy, Saudi needs to sell oil at $80 a barrel, which is now being sold at $50 or less. The aftershocks of the pandemic will be visible in oil-dependent economies from early 2021. The GCC had never in their dreams thought of such a dramatic turnaround. No wonder they were confident and over-dependent on their oil wells. It is unlikely that the global oil prices would go up from $50 in the normal and prevailing circumstances. The GCC has only one option: to start reforms and shift focus from oil and diversify to hold on their economies.
Please subscribe the channel. Also, click the bell button to get the latest updates.